Hello there. I am so glad that you're joining me tonight. I am Kat Hobson. I am your host here on Paranormal Experienced, and I absolutely am so excited about tonight because there are a lot of paranormal investigators that live in my region, but we're pretty spread out. This is someone who is pretty close to me. She is a really good author. She has got, last count, 5 books, but I love that she participates with other friends. She collaborates with friends. She has worked with Till Gray, and she has a picture in one of Till's books that we're going to talk about. She works with Mark Fults, and y'all got to hear recently, right? So I think that you're going to really, really enjoy her. She's the founder of Elkhorn Paranormal. She they became the team, if I'm not mistaken, at the old Fayetteville Hospital. And she's going to tell us more about all of that stuff, and it's going to be so much fun. So let's bring her on, Cyn Shrader Hill. Hi.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you for
me
being
on.
here.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for being here.
I'm excited to have you here. So this will be a good time.
I think so.
So, I'm really enthused because I'm familiar with your work. I hear about you a lot because I am good friends with Mark Fults and Teal. And, I hear so much about you and your work with them. And I think that it's one of my favorite things when people can collaborate and come together, not necessarily just promoting themselves, but actually promoting the field. And I think you do that.
I enjoy working with other people.
Me too.
We're all learning still, and we can learn so much from each other just by talking. So I enjoy talking to people, if not investigating with them. That's a whole new animal. I love that too. So we've done some co-investigations with different teams, and that's a lot of fun.
That is fun. And I'm not with a team right now. And I just kind of go rogue. I just go places. But and I'm fortunate that I get to do that. I mean, people are nice to me, and I appreciate that. I think it's a big deal when you're trying to understand. Hey, Chris. Hey, Lori.
Hi, Chris.
And and I think Tom McNicholas is still up there. I hope so. He's a really fun person. He's a good questioner. But I think it really is. It's nice because if you're working with people that you don't see all the time, then everybody brings something to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
But tell me about, you travel a lot, and you've investigated and visited a lot of interesting places.
I have. I don't travel now as much as I used to, but
Same.
then started going to Paracons and trying to go to different ones to, meet different people that way. But I used to travel a lot and have been to a lot of different haunted locations, not to necessarily investigate, because that was before I even knew how to investigate. And so I did the public walkthroughs at a lot of these big places. But I've always loved the history of these old places and the stories of things that have happened there. And I've always loved to be scared. I've always loved scary stories. My bedtime story, I wrote about it in my first book. It's the very first chapter, my bedtime story. My grandmother used to tell me a story about my great uncle, and he was a scaredy cat. So he would be on his way home, and he got terrified in this little church, and the story always ended with, "Boo! Now go to sleep." And I would make my grandmother tell me that every night, every night.
That's so funny.
I loved it. I loved it.
Well, we my grandmother was kind of a new age before there was new age, and it made life exciting sometimes, and it got me in trouble others because she was just absolutely, you know, absolutely fun to be around. She was never boring. Um, I found out that, and I did, it was really cool. I found out that this woman on Facebook messaged me, and she's like, "Hi, I'm your fourth cousin on the Duke side. And I, yeah, I found you, genealogy stuff." And she's like, "And I found you, and we have a lot of the same skills, and I would really like to get to know you." And I'm like, Facebook. And I'm just like, really? So I was like, what skill sets? And we do. We have the same skill sets.
So it was for real.
It was for real. And she really is my cousin. And she lives in South Alabama, which is where my grandma's from. Well, her family was from. So, it was just kind of like, okay. But she had her side of my grandmother's family have the abilities that I have, which is to sense and feel and recognize and be recognized and interact and different things. I'm not psychic, but I do interact with spirit. So it's really cool because that stuff is genetic. And I had always kind of scoffed at that until, I started thinking back to my interactions with my grandma and her beliefs. So I think it's funny that you had a boo story.
Every night.
I like that.
Every night. Yeah. And, Mark talks about his family. I mean, back on, especially his mother's side, they had a lot of talent and abilities. And Mark is just naturally gifted. Plus, his near-death experiences and a few bonks on the head have given him what he's got.
On his head, talk to the dead, right?
Yes.
I love that line.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
Yes. And, he came to a private, a friend of mine had bought a house in Pensacola, just a little, shotgun house. And it was so interesting because his dog wouldn't get out of the truck. And his dog and my dog were dog park friends. So that's how we knew each other. And he called me and he was like, "Look, I've got this place. I need Bo to be comfortable. I think there's something in my house," because he won't even get out of the truck anymore when I pull up there. "And I need you to fix that." And I was like, okay. So I called Mark. I said, "You want to go play with me?" And he was like, "Absolutely." So my friend Lori had come down from Ohio and was there with me. So and she just loves Mark too. So we drove over and it was wild. And that was my first experience working with someone who was actively channeling.
Yes.
And have you seen Mark channel?
It's a whole different level. It's a completely different. I've seen him channel a few times, and he's even channeled for me over the phone. So
yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
He is
the first time. Mm-hmm.
He's the most gifted person. And it's not just gifted. I mean, he builds that.
Yes.
He works. Yeah. And, I think what shocked me the most was the physical alteration of his face, and even his hairstyle changed.
Everything.
Everything changed.
Per person coming through. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. I the first time I ever saw that was at Lynchburg Haunted Home. We had a special investigation. Walt Marler put it together. Walt is now on my team, but
Okay.
at the time, we were all separate. Sean is my co-founder. Sean and I were on our team. We all met. Mark was there, the people that ran the place, and then a couple of others from, I believe, Nashville came in. But he channeled that night. And I remember there was a woman that came through, a sweet little country man that came through. And then there was this Brock. I'll never forget it. Brock came through. And as soon as he came through, I looked over at Walt. Walt was questioning. And I did the, cut it, get another one, cut it. And he was looking at me like, what's going on? And as soon as I did that, and one of the cameraman's, everything went out. Lost the camera, lost audio, lost everything. And
Wow.
Mark said, or Brock said, what's she afraid of? And I said, she's not afraid of anything, Walt. It's somebody else. And at that point, Walt realized, oh, okay, yeah, something's not right. Something's not right. At the same time, Sean saw a shadow person behind Mark. He was the only person that saw the shadow person. So I'm not sure if that was Brock. I don't know. But the whole evening was weird. And it's amazing what he can do.
It is.
And his breath, how long he can hold a tone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even explain that.
And I'm sorry, the toning, to me, there's so much power in that. For those that don't know, in my particular case, when it was time to clear this home, this was not a benevolent spirit. This had been a dangerous human when he was alive, and he was dangerous when he wasn't alive. And Mark Fults actually actively removed the spirit by toning. And it's very odd because this was one of a house in a row of four, just little row houses. And the person, the spirit, when he was alive, had been attacked. Somebody had sick dogs on him. He didn't like dogs. So animals, there was a dog that lived in one of the other houses that was being affected. That whole house was being affected. There were people with addiction issues that were feeding him and things of that nature. So Mark protected the dog. And it was very funny because when we were leaving, we stopped by those people's house to use the restroom and stuff before we left. And we were talking about their dog. That dog hopped up off the bed where it was and just came walking back there. Like, I mean, completely different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different animal.
Completely relieved.
Yeah.
Pam?
But it's funny. Hey, Pam. I was going through there on my way to meet Denise Pridemore and Ron. And I forgot about that house being on my route. And it was so funny because I was coming by Joe Patty's and then I just felt like, and it was just like somebody had just like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, don't even. So,
did it feel like somebody went like that to you?
No, it felt like they did that.
Mm.
When they noticed me when I went by. And I told Mark, and he was like, he just knew he recognized your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, that's fine. But if you get a phone call from me, that will be why, because that really was no one to mess with.
Yeah.
If you were not Mark Elliott Fults, that was not someone you needed to mess with.
Yeah.
He was an ass.
I
And
tell you, when Mark does his seances, any kind of channeling,
Mhm.
the vocal cords, I can't even explain other than he can have two or three different people coming through his vocal cords at the same time. So you hear three different levels of voice. You know, you might hear,
Completely different.
yes, and you might
And
hear,
sometimes the accent,
yes,
in
it's
his case, the accent was
incredible.
different.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's all incredible to me.
And well, yeah, because I don't do that, right? It blows my mind that that's even a possibility.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because in my experience, I'm not a psychic, but I am interactive. Okay, for lack of better understanding. But um, but it trips me out when there's something like that. I love investigating with Mark just because every time's a learning experience. I think it would be the same with you.
Yes, I think so too. And you know, every time I investigate with Mark, I can be just sitting by him and I just know things. And I'm not psychic, but
Splash over.
sitting next to him, it's like osmosis kind of comes through. And somebody will ask a question and I'll answer it without, I don't know the
Yeah,
answer. Where did that come from? And
Mark.
Mark will just smile.
Overflow.
Yeah, Mark
It
just
is. It's like his overflow. And he before before my ADHD was diagnosed, I was just so random and would, you know, interrupt, and it was really funny. It's kind of rude, but it was funny. And so so he had come over to Gulf Shores to do an investigation with me and Lori. And we were there. And so he's talking about somebody that's being there. And I'm getting this whole different name. So I said, what name did you get? And he told me. I was like, it's not who I'm hearing. And so he's just like, okay. So I'm just like trying to find this person. And he's so patient.
Mhm,
He is so patient.
mhm.
And I'm like, I really am. I'm getting a different name that you gave me. And he's like, well, talk to him. So I did. And I didn't get anything back. But it was just odd because every so often, like I said, I'm not a psychic, but every so often people just, like, I'm going to talk to you for a while, you know,
Mhm,
and so I can pick it up then.
mhm.
How did you, because you founded Elkhorn, right?
Elk Valley. Elk
Oak
Valley.
Valley. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
because it's
okay.
EVP.
That's okay.
But
Yeah, because
yeah,
I love the audio part, and everything here was named Elk Valley Tractor, Elk Valley, you know, Times, Elk Valley, blah blah blah. So Elk Valley Paranormal just fit for me, in short, EVP, because I was audio.
perfect.
So
Yep.
everything just worked. Mystical Mountain Creations. Look what I'm using. Look what I'm using. So
Oh,
that's
okay. Now I'm going to have to put my glasses on.
this is this is Jenny
Oh,
and
that's
Mike
beautiful.
Atkins. They made this. They
How
make
cool.
they make amazing tumblers, and
And I love those. I love that
yeah,
size
you can
tumbler because you can
you
take it in
can
the
pick,
car.
yes, and you can pick your colors. You can pick what you want on it, the
Mhm.
design, anything like that. They're incredible. That's Jenny and
That's
Mike at Mystical Mountain Creations.
Mystical Mountain Creations. So
Love them.
I see why. That's absolutely gorgeous. And that's the size. I mean, I have that size. I have like a Dog Mom one, and I have one from the Smoking Tuna Saloon in Key West. And if I find those, I buy them.
Hmm.
Hi, Mystical Mountain. It is a beautiful tumbler. Good job, you did. So, but I think that the fact that you did EVP is so fitting.
It just fit.
Yeah.
It just worked. So at least it did for me. You're welcome, Jenny and Mike. I love you guys.
Yes.
I think Pam had a question. Did you see that?
I
What's
did
that?
not. She got
Oh,
one.
no. It
Oh,
wasn't a question. She was just talking about how it
oh,
enhances
picking up.
abilities. Yeah. Got it.
And well, and that's true in his case, but I think, like you said with you, that he just kind of tossed it over, you know,
Yeah.
and the
It just
man is wicked. He's
He
just
is
wicked cool.
amazing. He is amazing. And
He's
um
also a mess.
he is. He's my best. He is my bestie.
Yeah.
I can't not do things with him. I have to. And I'm so blessed that I met him back in 2013.
How did you meet?
We met at a public hunt, and he was sick as a dog. It was at the old hospital here. It
Hmm.
was a group that he was Walt was actually there. Sean was with me. Walt, I get to investigate with him that night. It's the first time I met Walt. And they were with this group, actually, this leader that was underhanded and just not a really good person. So they were trying to figure out a way to get away from him. And Mark was done with him. And Mark was sick that night. This was at the old hospital, so there's mold everywhere. So that was exacerbating how he felt. And I remember going up to a psychic, Mark, and he had said different names of the spirits that were there. And I wanted to remember those. So I take my recorder on without him knowing. And I'm not gonna be ugly about it because I want to remember these names. But I was afraid if I asked him, he would blow me off. So I did it like that. And he was so sick, he didn't remember. And about a year later, I said, Mark, I have to tell you what I did. And he got so tickled. He said, honey, I was so sick. Don't worry about that. He said, that was at the old hospital. We met. It all makes sense now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And that's how he is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love investigating with people like that because I like a psychic who isn't going to be interrupting so that you're not getting a chance to actually do your investigation. Mark will sit back
Mm-hmm.
unless he feels like there's something that needs to be said.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate that because it's like honoring. He already has that, but he's honoring our need to be able to hone our skills with the tools that we have to be able to get there too.
I
And
was at a couple of investigations with him that he was actually very quiet.
mhm,
And because he wasn't as comfortable with some of the people there, he and I weren't as close as we are now at the time, but I gravitated toward that guy. Every
mhm,
time I ran into him, it was just like, oh, you're my long lost friend. And,
yeah,
I just crazy over him. And I know he thought I was Looney Tunes, but that night I sat down next to him and said, told him, I'm going to sit next to you tonight. He goes, okay, and just, he's just the sweetest thing. And
he
I
is.
probably bombarded him so much. He was like, okay, we'll be friends. It's okay.
He'd be fine. And you would have been friends because, if he didn't want to, you wouldn't be because
That's
he's very
right.
direct.
That is
He is
right.
very direct.
Hmm.
And I like that.
I love him.
So
I just
I
love
think it's a
him.
big deal.
It's amazing to
So,
me, though, that some people will reach out and ask him questions and then not take advice that he gives.
yeah.
And that's on them. That's on them
And he
because,
knows.
yeah,
He
yeah.
knows.
Hmm. But again, it's on them. It's on
Yes.
them.
Well, if he told me something I would probably be right on it.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, because, and Teal Gray
Hmm.
is also a very gifted psychic. And, when, and Teal, I love you. I hope you're doing well.
I hope she's feeling good.
I hope she is too, because we're praying hard in this house for her. So I just think that, I just think a new Teal, new Mark, I've been so blessed with both of those friendships. And then now here we are. And so this is just another addition to that same whole dynamic. And I think it's really nice when you can get communication and connections with people who are kind of like-minded people,
I do
you
too.
know. And it's cool because that's one of the reasons I don't investigate with the teams here, because I did, and it just felt awkward
Hmm.
after a bit. And the first investigation I did with one of the teams, I got left. They all pulled out because I had driven too. They pulled out, and the homeowner came running out the door with an object that he swore to goodness that we had taken in there, and we didn't. And he was like, "Well, you're not leaving this here. You are taking this with you." And I'm like, if this is something that apparated here,
Mm,
I'm not taking that with me. I mean,
no.
you know, but because they had had a problem with, like, they had put this little Nerf football kept showing up, and um, it was funny because one of the girls on the team kept saying, "I saw an egg. I saw an egg." I'm like, "I haven't seen an egg." And so then I didn't see a football either, but and it was still wrapped. And so this guy throws it in my car. So I'd rolled my window down so that,
Oh.
and so I'm calling them, the ones that have left ahead of me, because one of them is a really great, he's not Mark, but he's close sometimes. And so I needed help because I was not taking that to my house
No.
and I didn't know what to do. And he was like, "Oh, well, just find it and throw it in some water."
No. Mm,
No, because, but that, in that instance, there had been nobody there when I stopped the car. I didn't stop but a second. And when I had gotten it out of my car and left and was pulling away, there was a man walking up the center of the median.
no, no. Mm-mm.
He had not been there because I'm very nervous about littering. I don't do it. So
Hmm.
I had gone down and made a U-turn and come back to this place. So I knew there wasn't anybody there. And I was just like, nope. I took a roundabout way home, and
Yeah.
I was just like, no, because I'm pretty sure that was whoever was attached to that ball.
Oh.
And so that's why I mean, because they just threw me in the, literally, they threw me in the river like I did that ball.
Right. Right.
I was just like, why would you go up and leave a woman traveling by herself?
No.
That was uncool. I didn't appreciate that.
No.
So
That doesn't make sense.
that's that's why I kind of do my own thing and investigate with people that I like in places that, but people I trust. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I
because
first I gotta say hello to Al. Al
hey
King.
Al,
Sweet man. I love him. I love him. Um, I have not done as much with my team since we lost my nephew because I was training him to be the videographer. So, um, that was back in 2022. And I kind of pulled away, and it was just too hard to do Elk Valley Paranormal stuff at the time. So I was going off and meeting new people and going to public hunts. I met several of the podcasters and several of the podcasters' friends who put on public hunts. So I've been doing things with them for the last 3 years, off and on, and going different places like Brushy Mountain, and we did the old Commodore Hotel in Linden, Tennessee.
Wow.
We went to the Bell Witch Cave. It's just different things like that,
Mhm.
and it's been a lot of fun. And
That would be fun.
I've learned a lot with them because, everybody does things differently, at least a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah.
And you might learn how to use a piece of equipment in a way you never thought of before. And
Yes.
so I just love it. I love it.
Well, I like doing that too, and that's how I met people, like from Scarefest, and some of the group who I used to go to events. They would host events, and I would go to them. And then I started doing my own thing, and it's much easier. But like Shelley Robertson at the old Paulding Jail in Paulding, Ohio, you know, I'd been doing an investigation at her jail. We ran into each other at Scarefest, and I was like, why don't I do a live show from the jail?
Yeah.
So I went back with her, to Paulding, and so just made like a big loop from Birmingham to Lexington, and then to Paulding, and then home. But that was a that was a wicked cool jail. But if you get a chance, you need to go there.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. It's only like 19 miles from the Indiana line. Like I flew into the Fort Wayne airport, and Lori picked me up, and it was like 20 minutes to get to the jail from Fort Wayne airport.
And
So
what was it called?
Old Paulding, Paulding.
Al?
Paulding. Here, I'll put it in the chat so people can
Yeah.
see it
I'm
too.
I'm wondering if Al is from Ohio, so I'm wondering if he's been.
Well, if he hasn't, he needs to go, because not gonna lie, and she's actually doing real research. It's a paranormal research center, and Lori does a lot of experiments and things with her there too. Lori Dorsey in chat, she's my paranormal researcher partner too, and in fact, we travel together for she's who I go to Scotland with and things like that. But and Rick McCollum, but you know that that place, I wouldn't have gone and had the experiences I had if I wasn't willing to travel to investigate.
Right.
And while there's a lot around Birmingham, but like Sloss Furnace, they got a new director who does is the paranormal community is not welcome. We are just a museum. We're protecting the history of Birmingham. So well, this place is full of
Wow.
the history of Birmingham,
Yeah.
and they're here to talk to you.
Yeah.
I mean, so they do like a ghost walk here or there, maybe once a month, something. But you can't investigate.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
it's really
that was
disappointing.
that was one spot that Shaw Wooten and I were talking about. She's out in Oklahoma, and she's from how did she say it? South LA, Southern Alabama.
Lower Alabama.
Yeah. That's where she's from, and so
Well, she calls it Lower Alabama. What part of Alabama is she
I
from?
can't remember what she said, but she's keeps saying she's got to go to Schloss Furnace and me meet her there. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And we just hadn't done it yet. But if they're not allowing investigations, then that wouldn't work.
Well, maybe if somebody besides me asked. So
Maybe Shaw. Shaw is cool, Chris. Shaw is
yeah,
amazingly cool.
yeah.
She it's her show that Mark and I have been going on, and we've been doing the cold case investigation,
Mhm.
the experiments. Did you tell you about those?
No. Well, not in detail, but
Well, we've got another one coming up Sunday on her show,
oh,
and
I do a
um,
show Sundays, but I will catch that rebroadcast.
yeah,
So
on EPP, Exploring Paranormal Perspective, is her podcast, Shaw Wooten, and she chose a cold case. I chose a cold case, and one envelope was blank, and then Mark was pulling out information from all three envelopes that Shaw had in Oklahoma.
I
And
love that.
I was in, of course, Tennessee. Mark is in Florida. And the first one went fairly well. It would have gone better if I had done my part, but I didn't know my part like I do now. So
Right.
the main thing is I got some I had the information, but I found some last minute articles that I thought, okay, this will fill in some gaps if we need it. But I didn't read them. I sent them to Shaw and said, here's this if we need it.
Right.
So Mark starts asking me all these questions about mine, and he's not hitting anything close to what I know from my
Oh,
case.
wow.
And so he asked all this, and I'm going, sorry, Mark, no, no. And Shaw starts grinning. And I said, Shaw, do you have something? She said, yeah, that's the name of the investigator and blah, blah, blah. And so he was hitting everything. And he goes, did you read
And
the
you're shutting them
article?
down left and right.
I was. He asked me afterwards. He said, "Did you read those articles?" And I said, "No, I just sent them to Shaw as a last minute." He goes, "You have to read them
That
so
is so funny.
I can, help find the information. But you
Mhm.
have to read the article." So I know what to do Sunday. It should
And
be
by jingo, I bet that's done too.
yes.
Because, you know, I always laugh about just how direct Mark is. And it's one of the things I absolutely love about him. But he is very, really, you know, so I can imagine. So,
Mhm.
well,
It
that's
was good.
actually a lot of fun that you're doing that because I think doing research into things like this, there's a haunting. Why is there a haunting?
Mhm.
Back, God, 10 years ago at Old South Pittsburgh, when it was not what it is now, um, we had gone up there to do an investigation. I was just walking through, the nursery upstairs, surgical units over here, baby being born here, da 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 da. And I had put on a lab coat just to like, role play and was sweating bullets, girl.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to come out of this thing and set my K2 down. And the girl that was with me said, your K2 is rocking the house. And I just kind of looked down and I was like, so it is. So I just started talking. And, she got a recorder going. And we sat up there and talked to whoever that was for a good 20 minutes. She lived on one of the farms that was out there. And it was back when, there were still Native Americans, Indians, as they called them then. And there were battles. And she had been having a baby. And then they both died.
Wow.
And so through the course of all this, I mean, this is just through K2.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, wow, thank you so much. And that was my first experience with any of the spirits in Old South Pittsburgh. But, you know, it would have been cool if I could have gotten a name. Then I could have gone and done that research. The fact
Right?
that y'all are doing this with old cold cases, trying to find the documentation for the hauntings is fascinating. That's, you know, I don't know who came up with that, but kudos to all of y'all for doing that.
Mark. Mark.
It sounds like more.
He wanted to test his skills.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing. He wanted to push himself to see
Yeah.
if he could do this.
Isn't he just so smart?
He is. He's amazing. He is amazing.
Well, how did you actually get started to the level that you decided to start your own team?
I My cousin had a group come down and investigate her art studio, and I did not know it at the time. Um, she Her art studio was on the north side of the square here in town, and back in the day, it was the rough part of town, and a woman wasn't seen on the north side of the square unless she had an escort or unless she was herself a loose woman. So my cousin at this time was pregnant, working late in her studio, and she had left the door unlocked. I'm not sure if she was waiting for her husband to come by or, what, but she wasn't afraid to be up there in town now. But she heard a click, 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 click. And she looked around and thought, what was that? And got up to search, goes to the door to look to see if anything, and found the door locked. And so she unlocked it again just to test it and went back before she got settled really good. Click, click. And she goes back up and it was locked again. So they came down and they found in their investigation that there was a little old man that was protecting her from the evil side of town because she was a pregnant lady. Yeah. And she needed to be protected and not be there by herself. How dare she? And so I got the same group to come down and investigate my mom and dad's old store. Dad died in September 01. And mom and my sister tried to keep this auto parts store going that had been in the family close to 40 years. They tried to keep it going in the Bible Belt where there's a Walmart and, three big chain auto parts store, plus all the mom and pop auto parts store. And so two women running that just wasn't making it, and they had to close down. I basically stood in the dark while they asked questions. I asked questions of my dad to see if he was still there. And they got 2 EVPs that night, which got me hooked on audio. That's what got me hooked on audio. But nothing, I felt different things. They heard different things. There was a rock thrown when they took a break, as if someone said, you can't take a break now. I'm ready to talk. Come on.
Yeah.
Which would be like my dad. The only place their equipment lit up was exactly where his chair sat all those years.
Oh, wow.
And all the utilities had been turned off years prior to this. So this was in 2013. And after that, the two audios that they got, one was a holy mackerel, which nobody in my family ever said. So this building had been an old turkey slaughterhouse in the 1800s, and an ice cream factory. It had been a furniture store. It had been just Red Cross building, several different things through the years. And so holy mackerel fit 50s and before to me. But the other one they got was in the basement of the turkeys gobbling. And so
out of town.
I was like, oh my God,
that's
they
awesome.
got those two. We got to have more. There's got to be more.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I joined their team that night. They asked me to be case manager. I was the one that found places for us to investigate, and I was hooked. They knew it. They trained me. And the first big piece of equipment after my digital recorder I got was a spirit box. So I had an SB7.
Yeah.
And that was...
And I still use mine.
Oh, that's still my favorite.
I love it.
One. I like the old one.
Yes, mine are the old ones. So...
And I tried the 11s, and I just don't like those.
No, I like the 7. Mm-hmm. So... And I use, but I get so much, and the the only downside of this is that you don't hear it in real time, but I like just using a recorder. Even on my phone, I get stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just, and I won't know about it. And then I'm like, dadgummit. Well,
Right.
now I have to go back. But I was doing some. Oh, this actually I did get to go back. 'Cause this was at Sloss, but I was doing an EVP session. Well, I wasn't really, but I had a recorder going because I'm in Sloss, and I'd run back in there for a minute to get stuff and leave. I thought I'd left some equipment downstairs, but I was down in the boiler room, which is down below the impellers, and I thought I heard somebody walking around up there, and it was a nasty day. There weren't a lot of people there. And so I just, so my recorder going, I just hollered up the stairs, says, there's somebody up there around those impellers. Who's walking around up there over me? And didn't think another thing about it. Nobody ever said anything. I mean, I didn't say it ugly, but, kidding around kind of like. And I got home and I had a 3-voice EVP. And one of them answered me and the other one responded to that. And then the other one agreed with them.
Talking among themselves.
Yeah. And I was just like, that's the coolest thing. And that is still the coolest EVP that I know of that I've gotten. So, I mean, because I still have stuff that I haven't reviewed because there's so much, because I always have a recorder going. And I'll sit here a lot of times if I can't sleep. I'm just like playing them back. But it's fun when you find out that, holy cats,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. What is your, because you've investigated and visited, even if you weren't actively investigating, but you visited a lot of places. And some of them are bucket list places that I would like to do. And you said that some of them were doing tours of the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to feel like you would know if there was somebody there. So,
in most of them, yeah.
So what is, out of all these places, because we already know we share, some locations that we've both been, but what is the location that you've been to that really struck you as a place that, oh my God, if I could just do an investigation here, because you knew that there was so much?
I'm hearing on my end. Is that me?
You're hearing what?
Feedback? Are you not?
Carl hasn't said anything.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. We talked about Winchester Mystery House. That is a top tier. And then I think Birdhouse Theater in Tombstone. Those are my top 2.
I have never been to Tombstone.
Have you? I love that town. I love that town.
What is your favorite? I mean, why is that? Why do you think that's so awesome?
I don't honestly know. Maybe I lived back at, then at one time. I don't know. Maybe I was a saloon girl. I have no idea, but it was just, I liked it there. I liked walking around Tombstone. We stayed at a little bed and breakfast, and they had a white husky. I'll never forget him. And I fell in love with the dog. I fell in love with the place. It was, they were real close to Boot Hill Cemetery, so you could just walk pretty much right there to get to it. And man, I loved it. And I wanted to stay in the Birdhouse Theater and just walk around and stay down there, because there was so much there. There's there was something, uh, I think. I'm just sensitive. That's all I know. I'm just a little sensitive. But they've got an old hearse there, and there was something kind of hiding underneath that. What it was, I don't know, but there was some kind of something there. Um,
That's fun.
oh my gosh! I you go inside. Have you ever watched the movie Tombstone?
Hmm.
Well, and you
I
see
have.
Birdcage Theater on there, and
Yes.
it even though it's on the movie screen, it still looks like a fairly large theater.
Hmm.
Even though it's kind of small. Well, that theater is tiny once you walk around in it. It's tiny. I,
Really?
you could, I don't even know. It's not, I don't even know if it's 20 feet from balcony to balcony.
Oh
I
my,
don't I don't
really?
think it's 20 feet. And the
Well, that's
balcony, the
deceptive.
seats are just tiny and they're not very far off the ground. So I don't know. I just found it fascinating. The whole place was fascinating. I would love to go back. We should go back.
We should go back. We're
Till
close enough to travel.
and Till's in Texas. We can pick her up on the
She is
way.
in Texas. We can.
Mark would want to go.
Mark would go in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
So, and that would be a good crew.
Yeah. Yep.
We will work on that. You'll have to give me time to recover from Scotland because I leave for Scotland next Sunday. So, but I think absolutely we should do that.
I think so too. Oh, Chris, are you close?
Yeah. She says she's fairly close. Yeah. It looks like we've got a group.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And I'll tell you what, up there in the top of that chat is Lori Dorsey,
Uh huh.
and she would go too. That's my research partner. So, and she does live in Ohio. She's doing some good research at that Paulding jail I was telling you about. So, but wouldn't we have a good time?
Yes, we would. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Tombstone is a great little town. And then you got Tucson right up the road. There's the
Yes.
Pima Air Museum, the Boneyard. You've got Phoenix just above that. Tons of stuff to do there. Oh my goodness.
I
I'm
think
excited
Tuesday,
already.
I am too. Well, David and I went and we stayed in Williams, Arizona. And then, yeah, Lori said Rick would go too. Rick McCollum is the other person I travel with, and he would go. So that would be a good time.
Were you on
So,
Williams Air Force Base?
no, Williams, Arizona, because it's where the Grand Canyon Railroad is.
Okay. Okay.
Because we just happened to stay in that town, and we found out that the railroad was there. So we took the train up to the Grand Canyon and came back, and then we left there and drove down to Sedona. But but I would love. I mean, that's a whole random itinerary that you just got. But it's the only time I've gone through that area.
It's
But I would
beautiful.
love that.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I love the desert,
it's beautiful.
and I would never
Sedona.
have thought I would like that.
Oh gosh, I lived there
But
for about a year and a half, I guess. Just I was on Williams Air Force Base uh, for a while, and then lived there, and then we moved to California for a little while. That's why I got to see Winchester Mystery House because we lived around San Jose. We were pretty
okay,
close
yeah,
to that. But yeah, so there's tons of things to do.
there are, and when we were talking before, I actually and Lori was there too. We got to investigate Winchester House, and with an event that Rick McCollum was one of the talent for, Patty Negri was the other. But it was so much fun, and I I really we went back and toured, or we toured, and I was getting pictures and stuff, and I got a shadow figure out in the garden of and it was an obvious figure of a person bending over tending a plant.
No.
And in fact, that was in the issue before last of Fate magazine, I think, because I do that show too. And so yeah, I actually sent it to Phyllis, and I was like, I got this at the Winchester house, and
Nice.
here's an article about it. You know, but yeah, that was a cool place to actually investigate. We didn't, in fact, Mark, when he found out we were going, he called me and he was like, um, there's a woman that's in the Daisy room. She's going to be waiting in the Daisy room, and she is excited that you're coming. And I was like, what? Um,
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris. Thank you for being here. But it was so funny because we got there and Lori and I are doing a tour. The Daisy room was Sarah Winchester's bedroom in the turret before the earthquake.
Stop it.
Totally. Totally. We're sitting there and we're in this room on the tour, and I'm looking around, and there's daisies in the stained glass, there's daisies in the wallpaper, and they call it the Daisy room. And I just looked at Lori. I was like, we got to get Patty. I go flying downstairs, and Patty's down there. I was like, you have to come with me now. I really need you right now, because I'll tell you why on the way. And we got up there, and I said, yeah, Mark Fults told me that there was a woman in the Daisy that would be waiting on me in the Daisy room to talk to me, and I can't hear her. Can you tell me who this is, what the message is, or whatever? And Patty's like, you drug me up here for that? You know, she didn't say that, but it was just like, it was going to be a long night for her. She was doing a seance and everything. But she was such a sweetheart. And she is a sweetheart. But she looked at me and she was like, she likes what you're doing. She thinks that you're doing a really good job. And I'm like, doing what? What am I doing? Does she listen to my shows? Right. So, but it was so funny because I told Mark, I was like, that was Sarah Winchester's bedroom before that 1906 earthquake. And,
Wow.
She had to move out of that to where her bedroom is now, the one that you saw. And so that was a trippy dippy day.
Did you do anything in the seance room?
Not very much. I didn't really feel anything in there. And which surprised me because I would have thought that I would be getting a lot of sensation there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't. It was to me, it felt kind of dead, as it were. But
Good word.
So, but I just thought that was an interesting room, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lori got some really terrific SLS footage of some animal trying the floor glass there by the bedrooms.
Uh-huh.
Lori got SLS footage of some animal trying to cross it. It was, and it kept trying for a long time. It was a long video.
Wow.
Because it was like it would try to go out onto that glass. For those that don't know, Sarah Winchester was trying to figure out things to do in her house to keep herself from kicking it. So there's windows where no windows should be. There's doors that go nowhere. Y'all have all heard the stories. And this was a window in the floor. And there's a rail around it so you don't go out on it. But yeah, long SLS footage of an animal acting like it's trying to dig through there, or trying to get the nerve up to cross it.
Wow.
So, and I didn't hear any reports of her having him. So I don't know what that was. But interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what was your favorite part of the house?
All of it. Every bit of it. You know, the part that I just could not get over were her little 2-inch steps that
Yeah.
wound around and around because of her arthritis.
And she was tiny. I
Yeah.
mean, she would, I mean, she's an itty bitty woman.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then with all that pain, she didn't need.
That
I was impressed by that too.
I love that, and, what really freaked me out was the window into the bathroom for her, servants. I was like, "Mm-mm, no,
Little naughty.
you
Yeah.
know, there's not gonna be a window in a bathroom, no."
Well, there was some unusual window placement there. There really was. But I, and I thought that that house, the whole place was so elegant. I got a spirit animal down in the basement.
Aw,
There's like a coal sheet that comes in from outside and it runs behind where the actual real system is for the house now. And I was just sitting there and I just saw it was a dog or looked like a dog that just came through and it was just a white spirit dog that just
aw,
wandered through and I was like, oh, well, hi. But I'm
aw,
a dog person and dogs show up around me a lot. So that was
mhm.
kind of a weird thing. Cool,
Really
but
cool.
unexpected. And we were looking for the guy in the basement, but we never found him.
Mm.
But
I
I
go
like
back.
finding stuff that's, I know, right?
Yes, yes.
But we could go there after we go to Tombstone.
Okay, twist my arm.
I know, right?
Yeah, and then hit Alcatraz. It's
I'd
just right
give
up the
anything to
road.
be able to investigate there.
I know.
I really would. And, because to me, although there's probably less than kind spirits there too.
It's a heavy feeling place. Really heavy. Yeah.
When you did your walk through there, was there a particular area that felt more so to you?
I remember just walking back into the prison part itself where they had the inmates. Um, I mean, as soon as you get on the island, you take the little ferry boat over. As soon as you get on the island, it's just a whole different world. It just feels different. But going into where the actual prisoners were, it was just like walking through a wall of
Wow.
thick. So there's a lot there. There has to be. And this was before I even knew I was sensitive. I didn't know I was sensitive.
Right.
You go to places to listen and hear the stories about what had happened there
Right.
and who was there. And I remember looking at the big poster that had all the ones that were most known, like the Birdman, just the really weird ones, and
Right.
just feeling odd staring at them, just reading about them and just feeling odd because it was just a strange place to be. Um, Once you got back outside in the fresh air, everything lifted. It's just, just a
Just
prison.
kind of oppressive.
Hi,
Yeah.
Al.
Hi, Al. Oh, he's got to check out.
Hmm.
Thank you for being here. So, one of the things that I've always wondered, I mean, do they ever let anybody go through freely?
I don't know.
Because I know I wouldn't want to go solo because I think that would be asking for trouble. I
Hmm.
really do. I do think that if you're going to investigate someplace that might be a little bit sketch, that you need to you need to just kind of let that go.
At least have a partner with you.
You do need at least one partner with you, because if something does attack or try to attach, then there, I feel like there really is strength in numbers, because whether you're using prayer, whether you're just trying to get you out of there, whatever situation needs to occur.
A friend of mine, Regina Blatt, um, she gave me a story for Realm of Shadows, and it was her time at St. Albans.
Oh my gosh, I've been there. I
She
investigated there.
went.
It's weird.
It's a bucket list place as well as Trans Allegheny and other ones for me. But
I haven't been there yet, but we
she
could do that
went.
too.
Yes, she went and was standing in front of a chalkboard. Um, there was a little teaching area, evidently, so she was going to be teaching, and so she was standing at the chalkboard or whatever, and the two that were with her were going to do a spirit box session, EVP session, and so they had that going. They were sitting down away from her, and then they looked up and noticed that she's frozen, and they called her name. No response. Called her name again. No response. And they went up to her, or she turned around finally, and her face had completely changed. It wasn't Regina. So they got her out of there and walked her around on the ground to ground her again. And she finally came to, but something jumped her. She remembers writing on the board and then feeling like she's in or seeing a long tunnel. And then everything went dark and she couldn't see or hear anything until she woke up outside.
Wow.
So always have at least one person with you. And
Yes.
you just never know what's going to happen. A lot of people like to do solos, like sit in the basement. Okay, sit in the basement, but have a camera on you or something.
Yeah.
Have somebody close that they can run in and be with you to get you out. Just be safe. There's
that is
unknown.
And it is a real safety thing.
Yeah.
And I don't personally think that solos are good for anybody because of a situation like that. If she'd been there by herself,
yeah,
and also a lot of these locations are not in the best areas.
No.
And you can really run up on some scenarios where you don't want to be, especially, and I know this sounds sexist, I am one, no females, no solo females, because you don't know who's going to be stuck off in a closet just looking for somebody to take advantage of.
Right.
Or harm.
Right.
People are weird. People are weird, especially right now.
Yeah. So, and a lot of these big old places have squatters that, people you don't know until you go in and run up on one. So there's always that.
And especially these abandoned places. Like we have an abandoned hospital here and they do squat there. We investigated that and the police had to go through ahead of us. And there were still, it was the coldest night of the year. They were not going to not come in.
Right.
But they knew whoever would be coming in knew we were there. So we were a fairly large group of people. But a lot of times if they are homeless, then you're going to have mental or addiction issues. So they're not safe anyway, even if they're not evil.
Right.
They have other issues going on. So you have to be careful and smart.
Always be safe, be smart.
Yeah.
Be protected. Take, if you say prayers, say a prayer. If you are spiritual, Do what you do to make yourself safe and stay safe. Just stay aware. Just stay on
Well,
top of it.
I think that's the main thing, right? Just be aware of your surroundings. Don't be so immersed in the experience that you're losing your perspective on staying on top of things. You
Mhm.
know, I we call Lori Squirrel because
Squirrel.
that's her nickname. Because when she finds things that are so beautiful or exciting, because we've been to Scotland and we've go to all these places, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, and so she'll wander off, and I'm like, we're going this way, and because she just enjoys and relishes every moment. I mean, she's just that personality. She just totally immerses, and it's cool. But I'm just kind of like, hey, squirrel. But but she has to call me back sometimes too. It's not just her. But when you're investigating, that's really a luxury that you don't have.
Mhm.
So,
And
well,
there's that meme that is really true. Something about I found out the real monsters were humans.
yes, and they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's really wild because like in that hospital, there there was one point where it was another woman and I were down in the basement and stuff, and there was a stairwell, and I mean, because like I said, the police had walked through and everything, but there was a stairwell by a door, and I looked up, and the hinges on the door were not connected,
Oh no.
and and it was because I had been aware because that stairwell felt bad. There was energy coming out of that stairwell. And I just looked at her. So we've got to go now. And so we did. They had one of those, when you get the bins and they put you in those chambers, those tanks or whatever, they had one there. This was a closed hospital, still had all the equipment. They even had the linens on the bed, girl.
Wow.
So she had to get in the chamber. And I'm like, really? So, and there had been an air tank with a chain on it, holding it on the thing, kind of just set up and the press thing. While she was in that chamber, I heard the chain clink on that air tank. And I knew what I had felt on those stairs, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, you need to get your, I was like, you need to get your ass out of that tank right now. We have got to, I don't need to be standing here by myself. You
Mhm.
don't need to be in there by yourself.
Mhm.
We didn't have any of the men down there with us. And I'm like, we're out of this part.
Mhm.
We're, but always trust your instincts too, because that's why we have them, right?
Well, and that's our best equipment.
It is.
It's the best paranormal equipment we have. It's our bodies. And you just got to learn to listen to it. It will tell you when you need to leave a place. It will tell you when something's okay. You've just got to learn to listen.
Well, I'm doing way too much talking. I want to hear about you, and I want to hear about your
What
experiences.
would you like to hear about?
I want to hear about what is the place that you've been the most concerned about being in. Is there any place that squigged you out a little bit?
Not really yet. I will say that yet, because I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure
Well,
it's
you've been
coming.
in Alcatraz.
Yeah. I mean,
I
prisons
would.
and hospitals. They're that's pretty close. The old Lynchburg haunted home, I think, was the place that after I left there, I had to have a shower. to get that off of me.
Really?
It was that, ew.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just the energy, the everything. It was just, you can ask Mark. It was just a gunky, sludgy stuff that you just got to get off of you.
oh my gosh.
And that's where I saw him do his channeling first. So it was just it's just a really weird place. It, it was something beside a mortuary, but for the most part, mortuary, and it had been built on several different times. There's even a pet cemetery out back, and real sweet. But
That is rare, but cool.
inside is a whole different story. Um, it's thick with ick.
That's a great description.
That should be a t-shirt, shouldn't it?
And that is a perfect description.
It was thick with ick. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm writing that down. And I'm going to put your name under that. But I mean, anybody that's been investigating for any length of time knows that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had it to the point that I felt like I had to go shower though. That was, did you feel like there was that an individual? Do you feel like it was just the mass energy from there, or?
It was everything. There was more than one individual there. I got several EVPs that were interesting. In the third book, I really wanted my third book to be my first one, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And it's the one that had my favorite EVPs. And so what I finally did was put all of those EVPs on the website. And in the drop-down menu, you can go to their speaking. Going through the book, they're speaking, are you listening? As you come to an EVP, you can go onto the website and listen to it. So,
that's a neat concept.
That's what took me so long, but I did get that done. Lynchburg Haunted Home is in there, and some of the weirdest thing, there was a couple of spirits that were actually laughing at us and amongst themselves, and that's happened at a residence as well. The spirits were laughing at us, saying, "Oh, they're just so they think they know, but they have no idea." Just it's amazing.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But
well, you're kind of like the EVP queen, aren't you?
No.
Oh,
I just like them. I just really like them.
Well, but I mean that I didn't mean that in a derogatory sense. I think it's really cool.
Oh,
and
I wish I could say that, but I don't feel like I can.
Well, I just popped it out there for you, so feel free to use it.
I appreciate it.
I mean, seriously, everybody has their own thing when it comes to their investigating, and I am one that I love EVP too because it's always like a Christmas present.
Yes.
When I'm going back through and reviewing stuff, and
you always get that thrill, just
yeah,
always.
Yeah. And especially if I had one that I did not have any idea at all that there was anything around me. And those are the ones that make me like Snoopy dance a little bit, because it's like, why didn't you like tap me or something so I would know and I could ask you questions?
Mm-hmm.
Because I always feel like it's a missed opportunity.
I know, but you can always go back.
Yes. There's some places that I don't think I'll ever be able to, like that hospital that I was telling you about with I'll never be able to get back in there. They're going to pull that down. And I was born in that hospital. So
same here. Yeah.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder how the spirits are going to cope. and where they're going to dissipate to.
That's the thing. They're going somewhere.
Mhm.
They're going
Yeah.
somewhere. And bless those people's hearts that live around the area, because I mean, if they're having any kind of problem, any kind
Mhm.
of stress, that's where they might go to first, because that's easier to eat off of.
Easy. Yes. There's all that energy from the angst.
Hmm.
And yeah, the sad part is it just generates more. And I hear all the time that depressed people tend towards suicidal if they start having a lot of activity around them. And I think it's because the right or the wrong spirit
Hmm.
gets off on that. And because you just don't know who you're interacting with.
No, and there's so much more now, because people have left doors open, um, conjured even, um, thought forms. You know, even if something wasn't at a spot, if someone says there's a Mary there, and people go in and ask for Mary, ask, is Mary here? Mary, Mary, Mary. Well, there's going to be a Mary.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of people haven't thought of.
Well, the voice, the spoken word is so powerful. And that's why great orators tend to become leaders in different societies. It's very easy to lead people if you can communicate with them well, because people are always looking for somebody to follow.
Right,
I
right.
don't know why that is. I mean, I guess that's just a weird thing of the human condition.
I,
But
I have a lot of people reach out to me about signs since I wrote that signs book.
uh,
And it's not it's not that I'm an expert in any of this, because I'm not. It,
you research it though.
I research, and I learn from every story that somebody sends me.
Hmm.
It's amazing, some of these stories. But all I can do is tell people about stories I've heard to help them with some of theirs.
But
If
that's a
they've
big
got something
deal.
going on.
It's a big deal because you come across information that can really effectively save is so dramatic, but it's not really. I mean, you can literally save someone from negative experience because you've done the work to be able to share knowledge.
Mhm.
It's a big deal what you do. And
Oh, thank you.
what? Well, I mean, true.
Well,
People that garner this information and then are willing to go to the effort to share that the way that you do, the way that Mark does, the way that Teal does. I mean, anybody who's going to put it out in a way that the public can access it is doing a really good service, especially in this field because there's a lot of misinformation.
there's a
But
lot. Yeah.
yeah, but
And
what you can go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
I was just going to say, and a lot of drama, that unnecessary drama.
Pretty much all drama is unnecessary.
There is that.
There is that. And I mean, I'm an old woman. I don't have any interest in playing drama game. Well, but I don't have any interest in playing drama games. I don't feel like, I'm not going to be doing any of that. And because really and truly, I just want to investigate.
Yeah.
I
I don't
just
have
want to
time.
experience. I don't have any interest
Mhm.
in, you know, one upping somebody or, ooh, did you see?
Right. Or
No, I'm
arguing,
there for the ghosts. No.
arguing about evidence. You know, if
My
you,
evidence is my evidence, and that is what I experienced, and I know what was happening around me at that time.
yep,
And
yep.
I respect yours also because of that same reason for you.
And
Don't
everybody
come at
should
me.
be like that.
Yeah. But I
Everyone.
mean, don't come at somebody. We're
Mm-mm.
all nobody. I don't give a rat's butt what you think. Nobody is a professional in this field
No.
unless you're getting paid for being on TV, and
And
that
then
affects your credibility. You
then
know?
you might, then you might be an actor.
Yeah, you might. But and I have friends on shows. They're going to come after me, but not really. They won't. But it does put a different spin on it. Do I love getting into iconic locations? We do,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And yeah, is somebody paying me to be out there on that? No, I would do it for free anyway. But it's just one of those things that if you're going to let me in, I'm going to go investigate.
Hmm.
And but don't come after me about something that I experience. You know, that's why this is paranormal experienced,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
It's all about your experiences and you know the listeners' experiences, and it's just such a big deal to let people enjoy their investigations, let people enjoy the interaction they get, and we're all learning, we're all
Mhm.
growing. There's not a dadgum actual professional, paranormal investigator. No, it's not a science.
Mm-mm. And we're all still learning. Let's just learn from each other and talk.
And play together.
Yeah,
Play
absolutely.
together nicely, and you know, I think that
Find find the people that you can stay around
yeah,
without causing drama with each other. That
yes,
might be the people you need to hang around with.
you
The
think.
drama might be the ones you need to stay away from.
And it's really interesting because nobody thinks they're the drama.
I, I know.
So, you know, but it gets to the point, that's one of the reasons that people stop wanting to be on teams and stuff. And don't you think that we learn better and we garner better experiences when we work as a team?
Yeah, I do. I do. Everybody brings their own unique talents and ideas to the team. And it's just better that way. It's better to have more than one person trying to come up with a way to do something, a
Yes.
way to find the voices, a way to get the spirit to interact with you, a way to make the spirits feel comfortable enough to interact with you. It's a lot of talking and um, just trying to come up with ideas. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, you might walk into a place and it's just cold. Nothing is happening. You ain't getting nothing. And then you might go back the next night and it's popping. You just never know
Yeah.
what you're going to get ever. So just don't
And
give
that's
up.
the fun of it though, right?
Hmm.
It's like a treasure hunt.
I had I had this friend that wanted to come on an investigation with me, and I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, I want to see what you do." And I said, "We sit in the dark and ask questions."
And
And
talk to nobody.
and he said, "Okay, well, I want to see that." And I said, "Okay." And so he shows up. He's a nice guy, but he shows up in cowboy boots. This is on a concrete floor where that echoes in an empty
Yes.
building. And
Yeah.
he has a cooler and a lounge chair.
He was coming to observe.
And he didn't have his old ratty jeans on. He was kind of dressed. So
Spit for it.
and I mean, cologne. He was ready for the night, but he wasn't ready for what we were doing because
Yeah.
we were just sitting around on the floor in the dirt talking
Yeah.
to nothing and trying to catch shadows and oh, was that you or was that a knock?
Mm-hmm.
Anything like that. And then we had to throw out all of our audio that night because he was bored and walking around with those cowboy boots.
Oh, that would be a bless his heart moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, in the olfactory with the cologne too. I mean,
Well, he never wanted to come. He never asked to go back. So there is that. And
well, maybe he was
I,
bored. It
he
wasn't
was,
what he anticipated.
oh no, it was not a TV show. See, and I think maybe that's what he was thinking he was going to see. But that's what a lot of people want to
Yes.
see. They want us to show up and give them a 40-minute show minus the commercials and give them the history of the place and then tell them who it is at the very end, reveal everything.
Yeah.
And that's just not the way it works.
Well, and you're not going to be able to reveal then anyway.
No, but they
And it
want
takes
us to.
hours to get through your evidence.
Sure. And if you've
Yeah.
got more than one recorder or camera, it's that
Yeah.
much time extra. So if you're
Mhm.
just a 2 hour investigation and you've got maybe 2 cameras and 2 audio recorders, that's
Mhm.
another 8 hours.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that. No, we want answers now. You can tell us, no, we can't. And
Can't
if
really.
you're not going to stop asking questions on that Ovulus app of yours, we're not going to help anyway. It's
Mm-mm.
not going to happen.
Well, and you know what's it's so funny because I was doing that team I was with sent me up to another place. So, and I made somebody ride with me to this one though
I hope so.
because yeah, I learned, but it was so funny because it was a residential and it was an older couple, and this woman, and it was really interesting because she came to the door and she had a French accent, and I was like, well, what part of France are you from? And she's like, no, I had a stroke and I talk like this now. It is there's a
Serious.
name for that.
Yeah.
Seriously. So it's a real thing.
Yes.
And so lovely, lovely people. But I had a SV7, I just tossed it on the bed, was recording. And it was calling her name. And so she's who that person was there for. And so I never really got a lot of information about who that was or why they were fixated on her. But it didn't sound like they were upset or anything. It was just like calling her name, like, oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But she was so cool because I was like, I'll get you the information. And then she tried to give me a Native American doll that somebody had given her. And I'm like, no, thank you, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate the thought.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I never take anything from any investigation site.
And I
maybe rock sometimes.
I don't even like to leave dead batteries. I take everything with me when I leave and try not to take something that I didn't come with.
Yes, of any nature.
Yes.
Yes. But but that lady's whoever that was calling her name, they were doing it in a very like George, that kind of George, and that voice. And I was like,
well,
I don't know what this is. I don't know why this is. Couldn't get a response when, because I just said, it just said your name. Do you want to ask them who they are? No. I was like, well, I can do that, but you're who they want to talk to, And because they were older, and had had enough stuff go on that they needed some help. But that was she was interested, but she kept trying to send things that she was uncomfortable with home with me. And I was like, no. Have you ever have you ever taken, I mean, you said you don't like to take anything, even, you know, leave anything there either. But have you ever taken anything non-physical home with you from an investigation?
Yes.
Does it happen often, just once, or?
I actually, luckily, it was a nice, kind, helpful
Oh,
entity.
thank
I,
goodness.
yeah, my husband and I, when we got married, um, I moved into his bachelor pad and was coming, boxes and boxes. And my cat was going to be the last thing we moved
Mm,
because cats are weird about new places. And,
yes.
so Bella was the last thing I moved over. But before Bella came here, we were married and he had already fallen asleep. He's an early bird. I'm a night owl.
Yeah,
And
David is too.
I was fighting for sleep, and then Bella jumped up on the bed and turned around and got cozy on my feet, and I was just about to sleep, and my eyes popped open and went, "Bella's not here yet. We've got a ghost
Get
cat.
out of town.
We got a ghost cat." So
Oh my gosh.
in the next few days, it happened again, and I asked Greg. I said, "Did you feel that?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What was it?" "I don't know." I said, "Has it happened before?" "Yep." "Were you going to tell me about it?" "Nope."
Nope.
"Well, what were you doing?" "I was waiting for you to tell me what it is." "It's a ghost cat. We got a ghost cat." So fast forward, we go up to Pennsylvania to see his extended family. That's where he's from.
Okay.
And we started over on the western side of the state and went all the way across. And his family is in the western part around Pittsburgh area. And then we went across through Lancaster Dutch country. We went to Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Philadelphia, just the whole touristy thing,
That
and
is
came down
cool.
through Shenandoah National Park. But when we were in Pittsburgh, I got food poisoning,
Oh no.
and we sidelined for about 24 hours until we could go on. And then we went to Valley Forge. I guess this was in July, so it was really hot and humid. But that was the next day we got to Valley Forge. And I still wasn't feeling 100%. I was much better, but just,
Mhm.
I needed the air condition. So we went to um, the visitor center and sat in the air conditioner until he went to get the truck for me. And
Oh
we
no.
left. So we left. And the next day we're in Philly. No problems whatsoever. I'm fine. And we even had a Philly cheesesteak. We came down through Shenandoah National Park and had no problems whatsoever, and all the way back to Tennessee. After just a few days, I noticed something was different at home, but I wasn't sure exactly what. I could hear rustling every once in a while, and just the energy felt different. There was something extra there. And when he went to work one day, I got out my recorder and started walking around asking questions and getting nothing, nothing. And then I came out of the bathroom and said, "Okay, I'm turning the light off." And I played it back and I heard, "Thank you. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. I got you. Oh my God. Yay." So then I got everything out I could think of.
Yeah.
From copper rods to the K2, everything I could have. The spirit box was going, everything. And I deduced that she was a nurse from the Valley Forge era
Right.
that had hooked onto me at Valley Forge. And the next day I was fine. She nursed me back and then decided to stay with us.
Hmm.
She stayed with us, and the cat would jump up on the bed every once in a while. And after about 3 months, the energy shifted again,
Yeah.
almost like an antsy, and so I reached out to a friend of mine and said, this was before I knew Mark very well. And I said, what do you think about the spirit that's here? I think she wants to go. And
Hmm.
they said, wish her away, tell her thank you, and she's free to go. And I did. It was almost immediate. But she took the cat too. We never had the cat. So they kind of bonded, which I think is really sweet.
I think that's really sweet too because, you know, the ghost cat couldn't get what it needed from you, you
No.
know, but with them being in the same realm, as it were,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that was perfect. They probably both needed that.
I think so too. I love that.
I
So
do
that's
too.
that's attachments in my first book.
Yes. I think that people think of attachments and they're like, ah,
Mm-hmm.
and they can be ah,
Right.
but when you were researching for that book, um, did you find any that were really alarming? Any experiences that you shared that were really alarming to you?
There's been a couple of things that have happened to me that scared me, uh, freaked me out, where I had to.
Oh,
Uh, I've been saying Bella, and now she's about to come into the picture. So
that's fine.
she's about to walk over, but if you see ears, that's Bella. Um,
That's fine. My
she,
dogs are in bed with their dad right now, so
aw,
that's the reason it's quiet in here.
our fur babies, we can't do without them.
We
Um,
can't.
but I had something come through an email, and I didn't know that was possible. I had no
I
idea.
didn't know that was possible.
Well,
How did that happen?
let me tell you, honey, it scared me. It scared the bejeebies out of me. I
Oh,
we had an investigation that I think Walt found this one and asked Mark to come with us. So EVP and Mark met up at this person's house and helped her. Mark did his remotes before we went and knew what to look for, and then he channeled there, and it was a good investigation. When we finished it, her friend reached out to me and said, "I need your help. Would you tell me what is on this video?" And there was nothing on her video that she sent me, this clip. Um, she was hearing things, and unfortunately, the audio was not attached. And I said, I can't do anything with it because there's no audio. And within the next few minutes or so, she sent me about 5 audio clips from different parts of her apartment. One was from her parked car. One was next to a radio, which I had to throw out because the radio was on.
wow.
So that's all I heard. One was in the kitchen, one was in the living room, just different places. And so I thought, okay, I will go through these really quick. And it was almost immediately I found voices, and they were all saying the same thing in each spot. Nobody believes you. You can't get rid of us, and things like that. So I sent them
Right.
to her and said, this is what I found. And I mean, that was just from the beginning of it. I didn't go all the way through because I didn't have time to. And I just sent her what I got from the very beginning of each clip.
Wow.
So I, it wasn't long that she said, um, please talk to my brother. He's a policeman. Thought, oh, wait a minute. What have I gotten into now? What
No
if
doubt.
no? And I said, okay. She said, he doesn't believe me. And you've just proven me. Okay. So I talked to her brother, who was a policeman. And he said, first of all, you are the only person that has corroborated her stories, but I don't believe them. And I said, okay. And he said, how do you explain? I said, your sister is being harassed like she's telling you, but it's not human. These are spirits that are harassing her, and they're everywhere. She's seeing them everywhere. She would go to the theater and be sitting watching a movie, and a hooded thing would stand up and walk by her looking at her. She would look out her apartment window to the roof next door, and there would be one standing on the roof looking at her. They were everywhere.
Wow.
They were following her everywhere. So she had opened herself up too much on some ghost walks. And these things had followed her and had started harassing her to the point of it was scaring her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, it would be scary.
yeah, and nobody was believing her because they couldn't see anything. She couldn't produce anything that had these things in it except these voices. And I told him what they were saying, and he said, what do you suggest? I said, she needs to, number one, go talk to somebody that knows how to talk to people about this. And I'm talking psychologist or
Right.
psychiatric help that knows how to deal with something in the paranormal field. And she needs to be able to talk to them immediately. She also needs to have her entire space cleansed. She needs to be cleansed. And I can hook you up with a group that's closer to you. I can't, it's too far for me to come down. We just went into this long thing, and he was telling me, I cannot believe this because I go to church. That's okay. I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
And he said, well, how do you say that these things actually exist? I said, because they're harassing your sister.
Yeah.
Those voices that you heard are spirit voices that are attacking her and are following her around and are going to drive her crazy if you don't get her help. And so,
Because that's their intent.
yes,
I
they
mean,
were feeding off of all of everything that was, they were causing her to feel. They were feeding off
sure.
of it. And the fact that nobody was believing her at all was making it worse, making her feel despondent. Okay,
Sure.
nobody's listening. Nobody's talking to me. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. They were feeding off all that. And so after talking to him, he thanked me, and she had sent me through 2 other clips at that time, and I was beat. I was like, I can't, honey, I can't do any more tonight. And so
Right.
I thought, okay, I'll tackle those 2 tomorrow, and I closed my computer for the night. Well, without going into a lot, me and my husband got into a little spat over something stupid. We made up, but it was stupid.
Right.
The next night, I opened my computer and I go through those 2 clips. The first one was the same as the others. You're not going to ever get rid of us. We're always going to be with you. They don't believe you. You're stuck with us, blah, blah, blah. The second one said, Cyn, come down here. We'll help you with that problem. and mentioned what my husband and I had thought about.
Get out.
Had our little spat. Yes. That's why I shut everything down. I didn't know what to do. Am I going
I
crazy?
wouldn't have known.
So it took me just a little bit. And I came in and I called Mark and I said, I need to talk to you. And he said, first off, it's a parlor trick.
Yeah.
Did you do any kind of protection before you did your EVP session? No.
Right.
It was just on the computer. He said, right. Did you maybe swallow some salt, maybe do a meditation, anything? No.
Right.
He said, always, always do that. Because they came through electronically and read my aura because I had not cleansed my aura and set myself and made myself ready to be able to listen to those without being hurt. I had no idea
That
you were
is
supposed to do that.
that is an important lesson.
It's a scary lesson. It was a
It
scary.
is a scary.
It was a
That's
scary.
why it's so
situation.
important.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're not an inexperienced investigator. And so people listening, take that to heart.
Yeah, just always just be safe, because you don't know what's around you at any point in time. That you can't see everything around you. Your eyes are keeping you from it. You might see out of your periphery, but there's things around we can't always see.
And quite frankly, they're always around. You know, I was actually concerned the first time I went to Scotland because I was with a group that wasn't very ethical. I've come to find out. But and there was ill intent through some of that. Jealousy, not of me. Angst and such. And so I was protected because I always am. But not everybody prepares. I mean, I was going investigating in places that were hundreds, thousands of years old, right? And so you prep a little bit for that. But the animosity of some of the people, specifically the tour director person, was just off the chain, and it was affecting a lot of stuff. And I wasn't really prepared for a human, right? I was ready for spiritual warfare. But I learned my lesson. So, but anytime we were at Bannockburn House and found out Lori had killed one of the spirits there in a past life, so they were mad at her and trying to, it was hilarious.
Lori, how dare you?
I know, right? And she's sitting there trying to, I'm not that person now. They did not care. And she's like, well, can you forgive me? And it's like, nope.
Wow.
But it was wicked, right?
Wow.
They were really pissed. They were mad, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But her heritage is Scott. So, and it was a big deal to that spirit.
Yeah.
And who would have ever thought, and I'm like, we just need to get you out of here,
Oh my
but that took me by surprise, because I can't imagine if that spirit had gone home with her,
Oh, mm-mm,
and she had to deal with something like that. Brought that animosity into her home. I
mm-mm.
can't I can't even fathom what
No,
that must be like.
mm-mm. That would
Like
have
that
been
poor
trouble.
woman, the poor woman that was sending you the emails. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm glad you were able to be there for her. I think that's so important.
You do what you can. It got to the point after a while that Mark stepped in and
Yeah.
said, "You've got to distance yourself from these people now. Cut ties. This girl is not going to listen now. She is um, been with this other stuff too long,
Yeah.
and she's going to have things dropping off her like fleas. So you need to cut ties." And I think that's the point where he actually put me under his protection.
Yeah.
And I've been under his protection for years now. And I know that.
Mhm.
I know that. And I'm
Well, and you
thankful.
know that you're safe there. It's like being in your daddy's arms, you know?
And he's got my entire family safe. So, and
He's such a good man.
he
He's a
is.
good human.
He is. I love him.
I love him too. He's one of the I'm not the kind of person that just, oh, I love you, man. But I would absolutely, and I have absolutely trusted him with, I would go with him anywhere.
Yep. Yep. And I have.
Yeah.
And
Well,
some of the places we probably shouldn't have gone.
well, the next time you come, will you tell me about some of them?
Yes.
All right. And you're going to come back, right?
I would love to. I would love
I
to.
would love that too. So, because we're just about out of time now, but tell people where to find you because those books, they've got to get them.
So all 6 books are on Amazon. They're all in paperback, Kindle, and Audible. Some are in hardback edition as well. And Cyn Shrader Hill,
Yeah.
look for that. And you can find me on Facebook. You can find Cyn Shrader Hill author on Facebook, Elk Valley Paranormal on Facebook. And if you have a story you would like for me to consider putting in one of the books, reach me at cynshraderhillauthor@gmail.com. Don't forget to go to elkvalleyparanormal.com and
Yes.
check out our evidence. And if you want to hear some real EVPs that I've got in that 3rd book, pull the drop down menu and hit their speaking, and you can hear all those.
That's so cool that you offer that on your website.
Thank
I
you.
think that's cool. I think that's cool. I love when people are not hesitant about sharing evidence. You know, what if you're guarding it like Fort Knox? Why?
Right?
Why are you doing that? Because we're all working to research. I give my evidence to everybody. I mean, check this out. What do you think?
Right.
Because we're all working for the same goal. So I
Absolutely.
love that you treat it that way. That's so
Next
special. You're special.
next time. No, you are. You are. No, next time I come back, I'll have to play you my favorite EVP.
Oh, please do that. We will
Okay.
schedule that. So thank you. Thank you for being here
Thank you for
because
having me.
this it was so overdue. I'm
I'm
just thrilled to death that you're here.
well, I'm
So,
thrilled to be here, and I'm
yeah.
thrilled already to come back.
All right. Well, we will get that on the books and make it so. And for everyone listening tonight, thank you so much because she has been such a great guest. I know y'all enjoyed this. And if you're listening to us in reruns or rebroadcast, let me know what you think because I think this has been a great show. She's awesome. So, that being said, for everyone listening, thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Have a great week. Be just be kind. This is a tough time. There's so much weird energy. Just protect yourself and toss an extra smile here or there. People are suffering a little bit. There's a lot of emotion. So take care of you. Be blessed, and we will see you next week. Same cat time, same cat channel.